Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano catch-up where we'll take a look at some of the main news items and events around the Cardano ecosystem right now. We look at the APE Society leaving Cardano, yes, 100% leaving and moving to Base. Might compare that to the likes of Cornucopias, who are just expanding to Base and other chains, but still staying with Cardano. World Mobile updates, we have AXO have started their buybacks. Splash launch should be happening, or their token sale launch should be happening today. There was a bit of a look into what fees might look like there. Sundaeswap V3 Batcher fees look really good too, nice and low. Look at the Lenfi Butane Oracle issue with the liquidations that happened. Nuvola, haven't looked at them in a while. We'll look at some of the main updates from them over the last while. IAGON, Yamfore, probably a few more, but timestamps will be down below. If you get value, please do share it out. Give the video a like, comment questions, or anything I've missed down below. I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. So we'll start out looking at the APE Society and moving to Base. Now I'm going to try and keep this short enough. People might be familiar with the situation already from looking across Twitter or other videos that are out there. I will do a separate video looking at cross-chain, because I do think projects expanding to cross-chain and multi-chain is a good thing for the projects. In this case, the APE Society have decided to completely leave Cardano, and it's left a really bad taste with a lot of people because they are essentially discontinuing lots of the NFTs and the things that they had grown on Cardano. So it's left a lot of people holding big bags of something that's potentially going to be worth very little in the future, because the plan has completely changed. So if we look at the APE Society, it is an NFT, one of, if not the biggest NFT collection on Cardano. If you look at JPEG store here by the all-time trading volume, you look at the APE Society is in number 2 with 46.7 million ADA worth of trading volume, and that's only second to SpaceBuds, and not a huge amount between it. Potentially it will still cross it before the actual full move happens. If you look at the price of the APE Society NFTs over the last, now tap tools here only showing from February of this year, you can see there's a fairly steep decline, and then in the last few days when the announcement came out, it completely dropped, getting some support from people that might be looking to move across. If you look here, the owners, there is 1,500 owners. So there's a lot of people in this collection that have, does it show it here, top holders? So if you look at the top holders for the APE Society, you have one holder with 258, another 204, 200, 153, 77, 77. So between the top two, you have well over 1,000 NFTs within the top 10 holders. So they do really have some big supporters of the project who probably will move to Base and like some of the aspects of what they're moving across. But if we look at the article here to take a look, I'll leave a link below because I'm not going to go too deep into this, but what's going to happen to you as a holder of the project. And actually, if we look here, it's not just the main apes that they have. They also have other collections. They have cabins by the APE Society, which are part of their landmarks, and the ecosystem is too complicated to get into here, or else it would be a full dedicated video on it. Maybe that is needed, but the cabins are going to be essentially discontinued. There is options that they're looking at, which we'll look at in the article. And the other one then is the passports, the quotas passports, which were meant as a way to link wallets on other chains through the APE Society and different landmarks they were building. But all of that seems to be completely scrapped now. So if you look at the article, and they talk about why to move to Base, and yes, I covered a bit of this when I was looking at Cornucopias, expanding to it. Base does have a lot of good things going for it. It does have a big user base. They were, I think, the fastest chain to hit 1 million users, 1 million smart contract users. So there's lots of good things for going to Base. Now, I would say lots of good things to expand to it. You can have bits of your protocol on different chains, which is what Cornucopias is doing. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But they're moving to Base now, APE Society, and looking to go to SocialFi. Actually, as well as all the NFT collections they also have their SOC Society token and Levy Finance. The SOC Society token took a major hit earlier in the year when the project pivoted from using that for Levy Finance to going to try and do a sale for the Levy token for the protocol. That completely crashed. The community was not happy about that and gave a lot of kickback, and rightly so, I think, at the time. And they tried to do the sale for the Levy token, didn't hit anywhere near the goals of the fundraising goals. They had to scrap that and go back to SOC, but I think that done a lot of damage to even long-term supporters of the project. And look, the APE Society have done a lot of good things for Cardano over the last few years. They've built a lot of good things. They have shown what can be built. So it is a pity to see them leaving. But I think certain things that they've done definitely did turn parts of the community away. So the SOC token, they're looking to make that into a social fi token. Not an area that I've looked too deeply into yet, but one that I will start to take a deeper look into over the next few weeks. If we go down here, what's actually going to happen? So what's next? You'll be able to migrate your apes onto Base for no charge in the coming weeks. There isn't a bridge there yet, but they will be building one. You'll be able to move both SIP25 and SIP68 apes. 25 is the original apes. SIP68 are the ones that were modified through the tailor shop, and they will be rebuilding the tailor shop over on Base. But you can move either of them. There was a really big push in the last while to get people to move from SIP25 to SIP68, but now it doesn't matter because they will be just recreating them over on Base. So what happens with all of the other NFT collections? There is one option that they're proposing is Sapphires, where you will be able to convert all the different NFTs you have into Sapphires, and depending on the rarity or different aspects, then you will be able to get a different amount of Sapphires. So you can see here the list of what can be converted into Sapphires is the cabins, passports. I didn't actually mention these when I was talking about the NFT collections, buildings, furniture, diamond hand trophies, crest, tickets, and more. They will all be converted, but people doing that, they're taking a chance. They don't know what they're going to be, what they're going to be used for, and I don't think the team even knows just yet what they could be used for. Option 2 would be where the DAO takes over the cabins and passports, and this is where the current APE Society DAO would need to take over. And all they would have though in funding, I don't think this is a runner either, because they would get all future royalties from sales over on JPEG or any other NFT platforms. The DAO would get the fees from that, but really that's not going to be enough to do anything much with the project. They say option 3 would be the DAO is free to discuss and come up with other solutions, but it needs to happen fast. They even give rules. I'm not sure if you have a DAO, you can give a DAO rules when it's the DAO that is going to decide what happens, that is the community. They say that the assets cannot be bridged to Base. The team is not building the landmarks, and AF1 cannot be contracted for dev help. The plan is to vote in the coming days on which direction. We'll keep an eye on that and see how it goes. And does it say about... So as far as other projects like Plunge, Cabins, The Game, The City and more, they'll be slowly winding them down. Levy Finance, they are looking for buyers. To be fair, Levy is a really good platform. Avatar Nick was one of the main developers behind that. He's not moving. He's still building Sundaeswap on Cardano. But we'll see. I would like to see Levy, someone being able to come in and take over it and keep it running, because it is slightly different to other lending and borrowing protocols. Maybe even gives slightly... kind of like options, the way that you have your calls that you can use Levy for, but we'll see what happens there. If we contrast this to the likes of Cornucopias, where they are expanding to Base, Cornucopias got a lot of heat on this too for going to Base, but when you look at it, they're not leaving Cardano. We talked about it at the time. They're staying on Cardano. They're still keeping all their NFTs, and actually here's some of the stats around why projects might move to Base or might try and expand into Base. You can see here in 11 days they were able to get, is this 1 million? Since day one has been growing at a record pace. Just today the ecosystem hit over 4 billion TVL with 500k daily users and over 2 million daily transactions. So this was time taken to reach 1 million addresses, and Base was by far the fastest of any chain out there so far. So Cornucopias are doing part of their NFTs over on Base going forward, but they're still doing them on Cardano too. So to me, this means that more people get exposure to the project on Base. And as well as that, if they want certain NFTs or to get access to certain parts, then they have to come in through Cardano to get them. And to me, this brings more exposure to Cardano, brings more users in to try out Cardano. And when you get more people coming in to test it out, you're going to be able to keep some of them around for the long term. I'll do a dedicated video looking at all of this even more and my thoughts on cross-chain and multi-chain future. Well, let's move on to see what else we have. And actually with Cornucopias, if you haven't seen the latest Copy Cafe, then it's definitely worth checking out. Let me just play this while I'm talking. So this is some of the footage we've seen of Solace. So this is some of it sped up. You can see the quality in the distance, and all of these things right out in the distance, you're able to go right out to them to see what they are and get up close in person with them. If we go on even further, skip into the video, you can see getting closer out to the mountains, the detail in the trees. All of this was made by the Cornucopias team. So as well, we're going to get there's 3 different Solace. So Solace 1, 2 and 3 are all going to be released together. The land claim is still in the works. I haven't seen a date on that, but I'm looking forward to it. I do hold some land plots. I hold some custom domes as well. So looking forward to really being able to get that and get into building. We'll need to bring the team on fairly soon whenever they're ready to have a chat about all of this in person, get the questions out there, and we could even discuss their reasons for going cross-chain and looking to expand to other ecosystems too. So next up, we look at World Mobile. So World Mobile nodes are growing. You can see in Pakistan, they're getting fairly close now to 1,000 nodes in Pakistan. So up to 921. Total air nodes are 1,597. 5 air nodes in the US. I think there might be more launch there or launching very soon with the recent air node sales in Reno and everything that's going on. So we'll see, keep an eye on this, but 1,000 for Pakistan will be coming fairly soon. And if you want to keep up to date on this, you can always check out the airnode.worldmobile.io. One place that I like to keep track of things as well is World Mobile Token Scan. So you can see here the total air nodes, you can see the consumption on the network, unique users, uptime, and then this one here, actually this hasn't been updated just yet, but the recent World Mobile buyback, I think that actually might have happened today with the latest buyback that has pushed them to over 1 million WMT. So you can see here 19,287 WMT was added, so over 1 million World Mobile has been bought back now. These buybacks will serve to reward Earthnode operators and delegators. Talked about this aspect of the project multiple times now, how I really like it because it's taking funds that are earned outside of crypto, putting them back into crypto and supporting people who are running the infrastructure behind it. So this is one of the aspects I really like. It's not just recycling the same thing around and around, it's bringing outside revenue into the actual protocol and into the community. And that does go back to Earthnode operators and delegators that are helping support the network. Some other good updates from World Mobile was the IA DevNet is now live. Now this isn't a public testnet, this is a DevNet for the likes of myself that is an Earthnode operator that can get in and set up our nodes, test out the network, help them develop it even further. There is guides here on how to get it all set up. I think you have to be an Earthnode operator holder and Earthnode NFT holder to be able to go in and set this up. I have set some time aside next week to get in and dive into this, so maybe after that I'll be able to do another update. And it was announced recently about moving to Substrate rather than the Cosmos SDK. So they're going to be building their own Layer 1 Plus using Substrate now, which opens up a lot of possibilities and gives a lot of stuff that's already done, especially interoperability within the EVM side. We see Midnight is also building using some of the Substrate SDK or some of the Substrate stack. So excited to see where that goes. There was talk in some of the recent calls about the partner chains and what World Mobile are going to do there. Still waiting for all the details on how that's going to connect in with Cardano, but they are looking to connect in with multiple other layer ones too. When we get the details, I will bring that out here too. Next, we look at Splash. So this is the rebrand upgrade. Not fully sure exactly the connection between it and Spectrum moving forward, but the Splash DEX. So currently we have Spectrum DEX on Cardano, was Ergo DEX before that, then Spectrum. Spectrum I think is going to be its own layer 1 for cross-chain, or layer 2 for cross-chain swaps in the future. We'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully I'll be able to get the team on at some point to explain that and what's happening with the old Spectrum token and everything that's going on there and where Splash fits into that. But Splash is going to be the new DEX moving forward. You can see here one of the posts was about how they managed to improve their fees, and during high loads then you can reach as low as 0.05 ADA per trade. So this is on the batchers, on the cost of the batchers. Now this is the, does it say, it doesn't say how many swaps actually was in this, I don't think. details. So 14 users each paid only 0.06 ADA in swap fees. So this is where there are multiple different trades all sitting waiting to be batched. If they can all be batched in the same transaction, then you get far lower fees. We've seen this mentioned by Pi as well. Sundaeswap V3, he was looking at some of the scoops, and yesterday, well, a few days ago now at this point, there was one he found with 10 organic swaps in one transaction, which meant that each of the users only paid 0.2 ADA in batcher fees. If you contrast that with Sundaeswap V1, which was 2.5 ADA batcher fees, or MinSwap right now, which is 2, then these fees are really, really good to see for Cardano, because the batcher fees do make it a lot of times where it's not worth swapping for smaller amounts due to the cost of batcher fees. But with Splash, if you're interested in that one, the sale is going live probably in around when I put this video out, the pre-sale, and they're looking to raise, let's go into the page here, they are looking to raise 7.5 million ADA. It is going to be pro rata, so it's open for 24 hours, and however much comes in, then you get a pro rata version if they get over the 7.5 million cap. Okay, let's move on to the Oracle situation with Lenfi and Butane. I'm going to try and make this quick. Maybe we'll do a dedicated video looking at Oracles, because Oracles is a reoccurring topic on Cardano of we don't have any set standards that the projects are expected to use. If you look at other chains, Chainlink is the big dog. That's the one a lot of people use. But on Cardano, we do have OrcFax building. We have Charlie 3, which is live. And actually Charlie 3 have free ADA USD feeds up there, and also have funding from Catalyst to set up feeds for any of the different projects that are out there. So any projects who want to get this done, make sure you contact Charlie 3 and try and get that set up. I know some people don't like the parts of it are closed source. I don't know if that will be open source in the future. Hopefully it will, but I suppose right now, if it was, it would mean that anybody could take what they have and just build their own oracles, but that's outside of this. So this time the issue was related to Lenfi and Spectrum. So Lenfi have set up their own oracles, or their own price feeds that act as the oracle, and how this is set up plays a big factor in this. So some oracles only look at the top level figure, what is the actual price of an asset, and use that to decide if a loan needs to be liquidated or if it has enough collateral. But what Lenfi do is they also take the liquidity that's sitting in the pools. So they look at I presume they're only looking at AMM dexes right now. With order book dexes, it becomes a little more complicated. I do see why they look at liquidity though, because they're looking at if they had to sell off the collateral that's used against a certain loan to get back the asset that is needed for that loan, what would they actually get when selling on a DEX? So they look at the liquidity, so they take slippage and everything like that into account to work out what they would get back. So the price that they're looking at isn't always the top level price that you see on a DEX. It will be slightly lower than that, because they're looking at if they sold the assets, what would that drop the price to? So that's what happened here. Was Butane moved their liquidity, the BTN liquidity, from Spectrum over to the new Sundaeswap V3 pools. Lenfi weren't tracking Sundae V3 yet, so when they were monitoring to see if there was enough liquidity to sell on the other dexes, they realized that there was a big chunk of liquidity gone and they wouldn't be able to sell to cover all the different loans. So liquidations started to happen at the May 12th at 10 past 12. So Butane moved at 18 minutes past 11, and then the liquidation started at 10 past 12. So they went on till 2:56. At 4:40, then a few hours later, the Sundae V3 pool was added, and this resolved it. It meant that the system then could see all the extra liquidity, and then the loans were safe again. But there was a lot of loans liquidated. So what's going to happen to users that were impacted? So the collateral liquidated was 415 BTN, and there was 10,000 BTN were returned to borrowers. So loans repaid was 132,000 ADA. The immediate response, they talk about it here, they added in the Sundae pool, which rebalanced things but couldn't pull back the liquidations because these all happen on chain, decentralized way, so there's no way to reverse them transactions. They also updated their code to dynamically include new DEX liquidity pools. I think this is very important. I'm not sure why it wasn't happening before. I know with ADA Markets, we have an indexer that goes out, and anytime any new transactions or new pools happen on DEXs, then it automatically picks them up to include it in the aggregator. It's good to see that it is there now. What Butane have went out and done is Butane have went out and market bought 200,000 BTN for 342,000 ADA, and they said they're going to cover half of the joint commitment to refunds of BTN liquidations that occurred with Lenfi. I think Lenfi have said that they will be covering another part of that. So if you have issues, if you were affected by this, reach out to Lenfi and they will try and rectify this to get you back the funds that were lost in this. It does raise the question about oracles and Cardano and standards and what should be expected of protocols. That's another video, but wanted to cover it just for people who had heard bits about it or who were worried or affected by it. So then we'll take a look at Nuvola and the latest updates there. So I had Raul on the channel probably 5-6 weeks ago at this point before the token launch. We talked about the IAGON partnership and that, and since then they have continued to roll out more infrastructure, more nodes for IAGON and more capacity for the network. The next partnership was OrcFax, so they've bought 2 licenses there to run nodes in the OrcFax Oracle network, so they will be earning earning FACT token. Next up is the first cross-chain partnership was Minutes Network, and I think I have that one here. Minutes Network they have partnered with, and they're going to run 13 switch nodes, 15 validator nodes, and the total locked MNT is 800,000. So Minutes Network is founded by Josh Watkins, who is the brother of Mickey. Josh was a founder or is a founder of World Mobile and has set up Minutes Network as something that will complement World Mobile, and there will be things that cross over between the two of them as well. So then we have crossed 1,750 NVL holders. The reason people hold the token is because when you hold the token and stake it, staking platform isn't live just yet. You can see here it has been put into production. Then you will earn what the project earns: IAG token, FACT token, and Minutes tokens here for being a part of the network. Part of that then is shared out with NLV token holders. They also have a partnership with Ada Anvil. I think that's to build the staking portal. They also have a Catalyst proposal, which we might look at when we get on to Catalyst at a later date. And actually Catalyst Fund 12, the project, it has closed off now for submissions and everything is finalized. It now goes over to community reviews, and I will look at that at a later point. We have put some in for ADA Markets. It's the first proposals that I've ever been a part of, so it was interesting to go through that experience. And after I have completed the whole thing, I'll be able to do some good reviews on it, having insights from both sides of the process now, but we'll talk about that more in other videos. So then we take a quick look at IAGON. So in under 6 months, we've hit 15 million IAG staked, 1.5% of total supply, 4.5 petabytes of storage provided by node operators. And they had an update recently that if you need to change the server that you have linked, you can do that now, as well as expand the capacity of the server that you're providing. So good updates to have. I need to catch up with Navjeet fairly soon. We've done a live stream a good few weeks ago now at this point, so it would be good to catch up, see what the latest is, especially around decentralized compute and updates around the network. So I'll try and set that one up in the next few weeks. Closing out then, we look at Yamfore. So I talked to the team a long time back now, I think towards the end of last year, maybe, or even earlier than that. We talked with Yamfore and what it is. So the testnet is now up for anyone who wants to check that out. testnetv2.yamfore.com. It is a lending and borrowing to a degree, but it's done very differently than other ones, and the fees and no liquidations and things like that. There's fairly high upfront fees, but then there's no liquidations in the long term. So will suit some traders that are looking to go long in the market over the long term. But we'll do a recap on that after I can check out the testnet. For anyone who likes reading up on what's going on, Ouroboros Genesis design update. There was an article from IOG just about a week ago there now. I will leave a link down below talking about the updates to Ouroboros and the history behind it if you're interested in checking that out. This video definitely went longer than planned. Hopefully you got some value from it. Subscribe if you're new, comment questions or anything below, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.